Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor. If this is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for being here. So on this YouTube channel, we learn how to turn void materials into a beautiful piece. And yes, if you're yet to subscribe, please do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified whenever we post another tutorial. So for today, we're going to be learning how to sew this perfect fit pencil skirt with a butt lift. So if this is something that interests you, without wasting much of time, let's head to the tutorial proper. So guys, on our previous tutorial, we learned how to draft out the pattern for those pencil skirts we're going to be sewing today. I'm going to be leaving the link on the description box. Please do well to check out that tutorial because you don't want to miss on the tutorial on how we were able to manipulate and get our butt lifting for our skirts. Okay, so for today we're going to be making use of this African print. This is really beautiful. I already had this before. This is a half an yard and one and a half yard that is going to do for me, and then this is the lining that is going to be serving as our interfacing. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut this and bring it back for us to see what it looks like. So guys, I've gone ahead now to cut out to use the pattern that we drafted on our previous tutorial to cut on the print, and I also went ahead to add 2-inch allowance to the seam. There's a reason why you shouldn't miss out that tutorial, a lot of details why you shouldn't miss out on that tutorial. So, and you can see that I've now also gone ahead to mark out it out. But before we go straight to the tutorial, you can see that my lining, which is going to be serving as my interfacing, is the same length with my clothes, the main fabric. Now I'm going to quickly explain to you. Now if you're sewing a pencil skirt, which is what we're sewing, or if you're sewing a fitted pencil skirt, a gown, or anything you're sewing, now it is advisable that your interfacing should be shorter than your main fabric. Okay, so that is what we're going to do here. I intentionally did this so you can literally minus this before you start cutting on your main fabric. I hope you understand, but because I want to show you guys how this is done, that is why I cut it equally. Okay, so you see me minusing 1 inch, so this 1 inch I'm going to minus it all around. Now you can see what I'm doing here. I only cut out just the lining, the interfacing that we're going to be using for this project we're working on today. Now you can see it is short. Now when you sew, this is what it looks like. This is the perfect way for your clothes to look like. It is very terrible, it is not good for your interfacing should be showing. Okay, so I've gone ahead now to do the same thing for the other part. So we're going to go ahead now and cut out the dart. Now I'm going to also explain something about this dart I'm cutting. Initially I do not cut that, but I want to cut this, and I'm going to explain to you why it is important for you not to cut your darts like this. Now when you cut your darts like this, your lining, your clothes is going to be exposed to, maybe for example your clothes mistakenly rip off, is going to be open. Now it is not good for you to cut out your dart like this. It is better for you to give it a notch and then fold it like so before you go ahead and sew. So it is not advisable for me. I have tried this and it works for me, for you not to cut out your dart like this, because a lot of people have asked this question: how do you get your dart? I don't cut out my dart. Okay, with that being said, I've gone ahead now to remove the pattern paper that we used to cut out this. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to go ahead and join this dart together. Remember, do not cut your dart open like this. If you don't know how to catch the inches to catch for your dart, please do not cut it like this. It is better you notch it and sew the fabric than for you to tear it open like this. I hope I am making sense. So we're going to go ahead now and use 1/2 inch to sew the dart separately. We're going to sew this dart one after the other. You can see the way I'm pinning it down. This is where you're going to sew. So you will do this. I'm going to go ahead now and pin this down, and then I will take it to the sewing machine and sew for each fabric. both for the lining and the main fabric that we're working with. You can see this is what you're expecting to see after sewing. So I will take this now to the sewing machine and sew this down to where my dart stopped, and then I'm going to bring this now back for us to see what it looks like. So guys, I've gone ahead to stitch the darts. You can see how it is, and I also went ahead to iron it out. Now it is important for you to always iron. The importance of ironing your clothes whenever you're making it cannot be overemphasized. It makes your clothes look beautiful and it makes your work look neat. Okay, so I also went ahead to do the same thing. So we're going to go ahead now and use our interfacing to turn our fabric. Okay, so please pay attention here. For this process, for here, the particular process, we're going to go ahead and pick the front of the good side, that is the front fabric, and then the front of the lining. Now you can see where the dart is. That shows that that is the back of this lining. So we're going to take the front of the lining and the front of the fabric, the good side facing each other, and they will place it like so. Now this is where you start your stitches from. You see the tip, you start your stitches from here. There's a reason for this. This reason you're going to find out in the process of this art tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead now and pin this round. You can see the way I'm pinning it. Now this is where we're going to sew. So after pinning this round, we're going to go ahead now and hem this down with half an inch. Just run a straight stitch down there with half an inch. So I'll do this and bring it back. So guys, I've gone ahead now to run a stitch on this. You can see with half an inch, and I also did the same thing for the rest of the cloth. Now this is the essence of why your lining should be shorter than your main fabric. Okay, now you can see how it looks there. So after sewing it from that downside, we're going to go ahead now and pick the front, the lining and the fabric, that is the fabric we're working with, and then we're going to make it equal at the beginning. You can see what I did here. So whatever you see me do here, please go ahead and do that. So this is me pinning this down so that we'll understand or get a perfect idea of what we are expecting to see after we finish running a stitch. Okay, now you can see the way it is. It's not equal at the back. That is the essence of running a stitch down here before coming up to start your normal stitches. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew round with half an inch and do the same for all of the fabric, and do the same thing for this one, and then I'll bring it back. So guys, I've gone ahead now to run a stitch, and I also top stitch, and I went ahead to iron the rest. But I didn't turn this over because I want to show you guys for the zipper allowance. That is where our open slit started from. I went ahead to close it. You see the way this looks like. You can see how it is balanced. Now when you finish running a stitch, it is important for you to notch it at the end so that it's going to be perfect. It's going to relax perfectly when you turn it over. So this is me turning it over. You're going to use your scissors to pin, to bring out the edges, and then you use the same thing to do the same thing for the zipper allowance, where is going to be serving our zipper allowance. That is where our open slit stop. Now before I go ahead, I'm going to go ahead now and do this. But before this, there are different types of stitches, actually different type of stitch for skirts. Now this is an open slit. There's another one that is called an overlapping slit. This open slit is for ladies that want their laps to show and all, but some ladies that do not want their laps to show, there's another stitch called overlapping. Sometime in the future, I'm going to do a tutorial on overlapping slits. So with that being said, guys, so we're going to go ahead now and pick the both back pieces. You can see the way the two back pieces like so, and then we're going to place it together, the both fronts facing each other. We're going to place it like so. Now what we're going to do is to get our zipper allowance. Okay, now on our previous tutorial, you need to see that tutorial for you to understand why we're doing this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and pin this. I'm going to pin this down. You can see what I did here. I'm going to go ahead and pin this. That the essence of this is just for us to avoid this other edge moving. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and get our zipper allowance for this skirt. Now for me, I have maintained a standard of 1 inch allowance for my zipper, and it works perfectly for me. Now this is where we're going to be getting our butt lifting. Remember, our zipper allowance also serves as our butt lifting. So we're going to go ahead now and get 1 inch all the way around, and then extend it it to where our pin stops, which is where our open slit will start from. So I will go ahead now and connect this and then pin this down for us to have an idea of what this looks like. So after getting your 1 inch for your zipper allowance, we're going to go ahead and pin this all the way down, and then I will take this down to the sewing machine and bring it back. Okay, so guys, you can see what it looks like. So you're expected to sew down to that point and then bring it back. So I'll go ahead now to sew our zipper allowance, and this is what the zipper allowance looks like. You can see, and I also went ahead to iron open this. You can see this is 1 inch here and this is 1 inch here. So that, guys, now we're going to go ahead. The next one we're going to do now is to still open up this. Now you will be wondering, why did you now close this back since we're still going to rip it open? The essence is that for people who find zip inserting of zip difficult, this, by the time you do this and then iron it, is going to, the line for your zipper is going to be easy for you to be able to identify. I hope you understand. So guys, the length I'm going to be using for the zipper is 9 inches. Now this 9 inches works perfectly. It can easily pass your butt, even if you have a big butt. 9 inch is the normal standard I have been using for my zipper. Now this, guys, this zip is a very long zip. This is a gown zip that I had already. In fact, I already made use of this zip. I had to go and remove it for my gown. That is why it's looking this long. So if you go to the market, you can as well ask them for skirt zip. Skirt zip is usually 9 inches to 10 inches, but because this is the zip I have available, that is why it's long. Now this is how we're going to be attaching our zip. You can see the way it is. Now you're going to place your fabric like so, and then you use your front zip where your zip is supposed to be, and then you place it on top of there. But before that, you're meant to run a double stitch on that place, the point where your zip is supposed to start, to avoid it ripping off. Okay, so you can see the way I place my zipper. Now this is the front of this zip. You can see it. This is the back, and then this is the front. So the front is where you're going to place on top of your fabric like so. You can see the way it is. You place this in between your two fabric. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this for you to understand. Okay, so you see the way it is. This is where you're going to normally place on your sewing machine. You can see the way it is like so. So you're going to go ahead and place your zip. Do not forget, is the front that you're going to use to place at the back of this your fabric. I hope you understand. Okay, so by the time you place it like so, when you see where I'm going to pin is where you're going to first start. This is the first place you're going to stitch when you're attaching your zipper on your clothes. You can see the way I'm pinning it. This is how to attach a zipper on your skirt. Okay, so maybe sometime I'm going to do a very detailed tutorial to explain this better, but because of this video I don't want it to be too lengthy. This should normally this should explain to you how to go about this. Now you can see, though, when you have finished sewing on that place I have pinned, you turn it around like so, and then you stitch. So this is really easy to achieve. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so this, what we're going to do right now is to just go ahead and run a stitch on this, but I'm also going to go ahead and pin this for you to have a better understanding of what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and pin this around. Okay, I hope guys, I hope you understand all the explanation I made about the zipper, how to fit our zip. So after running this now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So this is what you are expected to see. You see, so by the time you open your zip, it's going to be okay. So I'll take this now and bring it back. So guys, I've gone ahead now to sew our zip. You can see how it turned out. Okay, you can see what it looks like, and then this is what I was trying to explain about placing the front on the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, so I'm not going to cut out that. It's all to be on the safer side, so that it can be an oversight. Maybe I would like to zip and over zip, so it's by the time I finish attaching my band that will go ahead and cut out the excess of this zip. But before that, we're going to go ahead now and go ahead now and get our measurements in order for us to close up the skirt. Okay, so we're going to pick the front and the back, both the good side facing each other, and then pick the two together and fold it like this. Now initially I have gone ahead to get the measurement before, but I realized that okay, I could actually remove a zip from a cloth I wasn't wearing before, so that is why I had to like open this up again and then before attaching the zip. Okay, so with that said, now we're going to go ahead now and get our body measurements for us to be able to close up this clothes. Now if you remember on our pattern drafting, if you have not seen that video, you need to see the tutorial of how to draft it out. So our measurements for our waist still stands and procedure. Okay, my measurements for my waist is 29 divided by 2 give us 7.5. okay, now coming down to the hip, now to get our butt lifting, now my round hip is 40. That is what I used to draft out on my pattern paper. But when I am taking the accurate closing of this cloth, I'm going to minus 1 inch from my 40. I hope you understand. So is now 39 inches that I'm going to use to get my hip line. I hope you understand. Okay, so I'm going to explain. Now this is my tape rule. It was 40 that I used in drafting, but now because I'm working on the main fabric, I'm going to be minusing 40. I'll be left with 39 inches. Now 39 inches, I've divided the tape the first time. This is the second time, which is making it into 4. Now what we are left with is almost 10 inches. Now that almost 10 inches, which is, let me just say 9.5, is what we are going to now use as our new hip measurement. I hope you understand. So our waistline still stands, our knee line still stands, but the only changes is that we're going to be minusing when you are trying to get your body measurements for your final closing on your clothes. If you are doing hip tightening or butt lifting or hip contouring, you minus 1 inch from your hip when you are trying to get your body measurements on your fabric before stitching. So this is what I got. I will do the same thing for this other side, and then I will go ahead and run a stitch on this on both sides. I will bring it back. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead now to stitch our cloth. This is the 2-inch allowance. Now on my previous tutorial, I laid emphasis on the importance of allowances. Okay, the allowances for African fabric and then allowances for English wear. Okay, so you need to see the tutorial for you to understand the allowances. So after stitching it, I also went ahead to iron it. Now it is important for you to iron the clothes. Iron your clothes whenever you're sewing. So guys, you can see how it is looking already. You can see the pencil skirt is penciling. Yes, it's penciling already. So the next thing we're going to do right now is to get our band. Now we're going to open this up. Now we're going to go ahead and get the round circumference of our waist. Okay, starting from where our zip stopped. So we're going to go ahead. Now this is me getting the round circumference. After getting the round circumference, now my round circumference is 29. You can see it is 29. Now because this is going to have a hook and eye, I'm going to add extra 2 inches to my 29 inches, so I'll be left with 31. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the band. Now this is a 4-inch band. Okay, this is what I went ahead to cut out the band and also iron it, and I use a medium gum. There's a strong gum, there's a paper gum. Now I use a medium gum to do this so that it's going to be strong. A belt is supposed to be strong, a band. So before I folded into 2, I went ahead to fold it like so by 1/2 inch. You can see that. Then after closing it down by 1/2 inch, I also went ahead to now divide it into 2. Now the essence of that 1/2 inch, that 1/2 inch that I close it with, is so that it's going to give it a finishing seam, a perfect finish seam for our skirt when we finish sewing. So don't worry, by the time we by the time we attach this, you're going to understand why I went ahead to fold in by 1/2 inch. Now the band is SS, remember it's 31 inch that we're working with, so I went ahead to reduce it. Now for us to attach our band, we're going to open up our band, okay, but before that you're going to minus 1 inch. Remember we added extra 2 inch, which is going to serve as our hook and eye. Okay, so guys, this is what now the place that we did not fold in by 1/2 inch is where we're going to be starting. We're going to be sewing first on the fabric. Okay, you can see what I am doing. Just pay a detailed attention to what I'm doing and you're going to understand how to fix your band on your skirt. Okay, so after doing that, we're going to go ahead and sew this round. Okay, now this is why I did not cut my zipper SS before, because this is going to be inside this band. Okay, now before you can see what I'm saying. By the time you sew this down like so, now this is what you're going to go ahead and do. That is the essence of that 1/2 inch, to cover up the rough edges of the other the band that we sew. But before you go ahead and close your band finally, you're going to go ahead and fold in here by just 1/2 inch. This is just for you to give it a neat edge. Okay, I hope you understand. By the time you fold it in like so, after folding it in, then you go ahead and use this other folded one to cover it, to give it a very nice stitch. So I'm going to go ahead now and do this round, and I will bring it back for us to see what it looks like. So guys, I've gone ahead now to attach our band to the skirt, and you can see what it looks like. You can see this is what it looks like. Now you can see the essence of that 1/2 inch that we folded our band in before attaching the band to the skirt. It made it look neat. It gave it a neat finishing. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead now and open this up. You can see both the inside and the outside of this skirt looks so neat. Okay, so guys, you can see, and then this one, the 1 inch that we came out before attaching our band, that will serve as our hook and eye. You can see what it looks like. Okay, so that is all that is left to attach on the skirt. Okay, so that's basically all for the sewing of this perfect pencil skirt with a butt lifting. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to click on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so that you won't miss out on any tutorial that I'll be posting. Thank you so much for watching. See you on my next tutorial.